the Sergey Kovalev, Andre Ward fight scheduled for November 19th, 2016. Could it be in jeopardy? What's going on? Well, there was a press conference to announce the fight earlier this week, and Andre Ward was a no-show. He didn't show up. And whenever you get multiple excuses from one side of the fence or one camp, you got to ask questions. Now, Kathy Duva, I've been to covered numerous fight cards with main events. Kathy Duva, Jolene, Ellen Haley, etc. And they've always, this is part of the reason I think Curtis Stevens re-upped with them. They always been straight shooters. And I think it's the reason why Zab Judah started out with them, left, came back. And I believe it's the reason Sergey's still with them. They just straight shooters. I mean, it's a take it or leave it approach, but I'm going to give you the venom. I'm not going to give you the antidote. I'm going to give you the straight venom, and you can deal with it as you please. Well, Kathy Duva, in an interview, she's done a couple of interviews. She's worried, and rightfully so. She's getting mixed signals from Rock Nation and Rock Nation Sports, and the press conference was actually 2 days ago on Tuesday. Today's Thursday, and she's telling herself, and she's saying that, as far as everything's concerned, that she believes the fight's still going on, but you can kind of tell that there's something going on. I mean, the promoters are just kind of at odds a little bit. Rock Nation appears to be just dragging its feet, if that's the appropriate term, on this. And so they were going to announce the ticket prices and the dates that tickets would be released. Now I'm hearing rumors that maybe they're trying to move the fight from the T-Mobile Arena, which would be great. It would be the second fight or so at that venue, to maybe either Andre Ward's hometown, not surprising, another home game, or New York, which works for me, because you talking my neck of the woods then. So it's funny, if I had to talk to anybody related to this, it wouldn't be Andre Ward, it wouldn't be Jay-Z, it wouldn't be anyone from Rock Nation, it wouldn't be Kathy Duva, it wouldn't be Sergey Kovalev, it wouldn't be John David Jackson, Virgil Hunter, or anybody, any of those names. The person that I would speak to really get the lowdown on what's going on, especially if there's some bad feelings attached to all of this, is a guy named David Itzkowitz. He's the one who initially agreed with Kathy Duva on getting the fight at the T-Mobile Arena, which seats 20,000. It's just an extremely new venue. and they reached an agreement. And then David Itzkowitz recently either resigned or was terminated, one of the two. And it would be interesting now that he's kind of out of the picture, so to speak. I'm sure he's still going to get a little something, I don't know, for brokering the deal. But now that he's gone, it would be interesting to hear what he says, being on the outside now instead of the inside out approach, that he can kind of freely speak, unless there's some type of legal binding documentation that says he can't comment on it for X amount of years or what. I don't know how it is, but I would be very interested in talking to him off the record. Just you know, see the man in the bar, buy him a drink, and get him talking. But Andre Ward didn't look spectacular in his last fight. He needed the rounds. He fought a blown up 168 pounder in Alexander Brand. And the brand of fighting that Alexander brought last Saturday wasn't, at least after the first two rounds, wasn't what we were looking for. But it was what we expected, or what I expected. Alexander Brand can't fight. Everybody's trying to find these words awkward, and so he just can't fight. And remember, he was rejected earlier on as an opponent when Ward's people brought him to the table, names to the table. Alexander Brand was rejected by HBO. So how is he all of a sudden approved? Well, that's where maybe that Shawnee Monahan situation comes in, where they kind of used Shawnee, who more than likely would have lost, but he would have brought some heat to Andre Ward. He would have, if Ward was rusty, let's just put it this way, Shawnee would have had his moments. Not unlike Edwin Rodriguez, and or even the last kid that Ward fought. So he would have had his moments in the fight, and some questions would have been answered, I'm sure. Shawnee is he's limited, but he's a guy, you're going to know you were in a fight when you finish dealing with Shawnee. And I think it would have made for a better fight than Brand. And certainly Sullivan Barrera, who was overmatched. If you look at the marks on Andre Ward's face after that fight, you understand that Brand brought what little he brought to the table, he did bring it. So what's going on? A lot of people say Ward realizes after the fight that he's going to be in there with a monster, and he just doesn't want to fight. I think there was some speculation from some observers prior to the fight. I think I saw something with might have been Steve Kim or Douglas Fisher from Ring TV that and Steve from the UCN Live. Just speculation. This was all Twitter talk. Steve, I believe, thought he would go through with it, but there were some questions. And now the questions have multiplied exponentially. So we don't know. There's one theory I have that nobody that I heard, I haven't heard anyone bring it up yet, and I'll say it in a second. But so is it Rock Nation that's the problem? Is it Ward himself that's the problem? Did Jay Prince get in his ear and say, look, man, it's a little bit more money to be made, let's renegotiate? You just don't know. But it appears to be one-sided. Like, Kovalev showed up, he's ready to go. Team Duva, main events, they're ready to go. They even had Michael Buffer ready to go with at the microphone. I think it just kind of messed up a big moment that they plan. Now, this is Rock Nation trying to exert some of its power, some of its financial backing, and they I'm sure believe that they should be the lead promoter, but they're not. They have a guy who doesn't even have a belt. He's not a champion. I mean, he's not the A side. He may say that he's part Roy Jones, part Bernard Hopkins, part Floyd Mayweather Jr., but he's not. And they're not the A side. That's something they go out, win the fight, become the A side. I think that, and then some people believe that, well, here's two other theories. One that I just thought of, just popped in my head. Manny Pacquiao fights November 5th, HBO, pay-per-view. 2 weeks later, November 19th, HBO, pay-per-view. So you got fans paying, what, 75, I don't know what the pay-per-view, let's just say $75 on November 5th, and then 2 weeks later on November 19th, you want them to pay $75 more dollars. Or, from a promoter standpoint, I'm saying, okay, do people want to see necessarily what may be the better fight? Or do they want to see the return of Manny Pacquiao? But see, I can't even call it the better fight right now, because Pacquiao Vargas sets up as a very entertaining scrap on paper, possibly a war, depending on what Manny has left. On the flip side, after Ward's performance, or performances in his last 3 fights, would you pay to see Andre Ward? So you're going to lose fans, whether there's a Pacquiao fight or not. You're going to lose fans to streaming. If Ward would have looked like the Ward of whatever, whenever you find him to be at his best, come see me. Let's talk. Now we're talking about something, but it just didn't happen. And that arena was not full. There were tens of not thousands, not hundreds, tens of thousands of empty seats in the arena. So are they scrambling now? And then now rumor has Bob Arum says, listen, if they want to move the fight to a different venue or even a different date, I can arrange something for November 19th at T-Mobile Arena, which smells a lot like another Terrence Crawford thing or another big name. But what it does is it, like, the coals are burning right now, and we need to know something. November will be here before you know it. And main events, I mean, Kovalev needs to know, look, who am I going in the gym to train for? Or am I going to be training for anybody? Am I going to have a fight, or we put this on the shelf, or what? One thing I don't hear, another thing, this is something that I don't hear anybody saying. Maybe it's just gamesmanship by Ward. Maybe he's just trying to get into Kovalev's head. You know, sometimes when you're unsure, or even if you're sure, part of your game might be, let's get in this guy's head. Let's not show up. It's kind of like Leonard versus, it's kind of like the Hagler-Leonard fight, which I don't think Leonard won, by the way, but he used tactics such as calling the press conference, and then Hagler shows up for the press conference, and Ray showed up, and he's like, it would be a great fight. Unfortunately, it's a fight that's never going to happen. And Marvin Hagler just sat there looking foolish, thinking, this is something, we're having this to announce the fight, or he's going to accept the fight, and then he pulled a fast one on him. Well, I don't think it's a ploy that worked, because I don't think that Marvelous Marvin Hagler lost. He changed his name legally to Marvelous, so it's Marvelous Marvin Hagler. I don't think he lost that fight. However, in the way the books have it, it goes down as a Leonard win. So in that respect, there'll be plenty of people who say that ploy worked. So I don't know, because the thinking is once we hear from Andre Ward, we'll know what the deal is, but it may not be. It may be Ward put people up to that. That's why I think David Itzkowitz is a very... I'd like to speak to him if I could, because I think that off the record, not necessarily on, we find some answers, and then he could be cited as an unnamed source. So we'll have to see how it unfolds in the next few days or a couple of weeks, but all the nonsense about Ward didn't show up because... First, it was because... I'll give you two of the 5 excuses I heard. First, it was he didn't show up because it was too close to his fight. Dude, the presser was in California. You fought in California. Give me a break. The second excuse, second of about 5 that I've heard, I won't share the others quite yet, is that he had already had something planned for that day. So he had already planned to be somewhere else. But that's kind of almost like saying there's a fight, I agreed to a fight, and then I forgot something's on my calendar. I can't show up for the actual fight. Sorry about that. I mean, you're obligated. Andre's with the fans. There's always seemed to be some type of disconnect with the fans, and if there was, you can multiply that. You can double that now, maybe even triple. And I'm not talking about the jock riders in Oakland and the Bay Area and other. He's the greatest ever and all this other stuff. I mean, I'm not talking about those people. I'm just talking about fans who don't have any stake, don't have any interest, who just are fans. And he's got some splaining to do. You dig what I'm saying? I mean, he's going to eventually have to own up to that. I like to think there's still some people in the media that have enough guts that when they have him at the media day or on a conference call or whatever, I'll do it, to just press him on it. Now, I'm not talking to you, Virgil. I'm talking to Andre. And I'm not talking to you, Jay-Z, Beyonce, no, Kodo, anybody. No, I'm talking to Andre S.O.G. Ward. Sometimes people mix the letter G up with the letter B. And that's the name some people are using right now in their videos. I'm not going to go that far, but these diva tactics, especially from the Rock Nation fighters, Miguel Cotto, diva tactics. Now this guy, I mean, I don't want to hear anybody else on behalf of him, the fighter. I want to hear what he has to say. And if he looks you square in the eye and you know how to read body language and he tells you, hey, it was too close to the fight, or I had something, or B, C, and D and all the above, whatever. If you want to buy it, that's fine. Right now, I'm not buying it, and I'm not buying a fight unless something, I just don't know what's going on. But my theory, I'm going to chalk it up to playing head games, mind games. We'll see. There's a different way to play those type of games. I mean, this is something where fans came out and actually thought you would show up, and you didn't. Anything short of Jay-Z and Beyonce doing a few numbers, maybe Jay Prince producing a track or something, it's a disappointment. Follow us on Twitter at The Fight Journal. We got 7,000 followers strong. Go to our website, www.thefightjournal.com. On the top left, you'll see follow, blog via email. If you select that, all of our videos, all of our audio, all of our articles that we do will come straight to your email. You won't have to come looking for us. Also, DPG Uncut TV. Got some good stuff coming up. Follow our friends. That's friends of ours. Give them a shout too on Twitter. DPG Uncut TV. And The Fight Journal. Definitely. We'll catch you on the next one.